Throughout history, humans have been captivated by the idea of the end times that might someday shake our world to its very core and wipe humanity clean from the earth. From apocalyptic horsemen to cosmic upheavals, the Bible has provided us with some truly hair-raising visions of the ultimate reckoning. If any of what's depicted in the biblical apocalypse were meant to be taken literally, then mankind is certainly doomed for a hell on earth unlike any other. Welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10. My name is AJ, which stands for Angelo Jesus, by the way, just a fun little tidbit. And today we'll be unearthing the top 10 terrifying end-of-world prophecies told in the Bible. Now, I know this is going to be a top 10 list, but I'm going to try to explain the events as they happen chronologically, starting with number 10, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. According to the final book of the Bible, titled The Apocalypse of John, not the disciple, just some other dude named John, the first stage of the end of the world is going to be marked by the opening of the 7 sacred seals, the first 4 of which each represent one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Now, like most things in the Bible, the details are quite vague, but we can infer that these cowboys ain't of the friendly variety. The first one's definitely the least intimidating, said to be a crowned rider on a white horse carrying a bow with which to conquer. Following conquest is the horseman of war, who appears on a red horse and is granted a great sword to take peace from the earth. As you history buffs may know, with war comes famine, and so the following horseman carries a pair of balances or a scale in their hands on the back of a black horse. And finally, the 4th seal is opened, revealing a rider on a pale horse. This rider is the only one who's named. It's the very essence of the unliving itself, the Grim Reaper, if you will. Wherever the Reaper goes, Hades follows, and unlike the first 3 horsemen, who are each given a weapon or tool of some sort, this last guy is given a quarter of the earth to eliminate with sword, hunger, and disease, and the beasts of the earth. Now, before I get into the cataclysms of cosmic proportions that will forever change the topography of Earth, well, until it's destroyed, if you're enjoying the video so far, do me a favor and let YouTube know you want to see more of my face by giving the video a thumbs up, subscribing to the channel, and hitting that notification bell. And as promised, at number 9, we have the cataclysms. World-shaping events of epic proportions are littered throughout the text, the first of which beginning with the opening of the 5th seal. P.S. for those of you keeping track, the 5th seal is pretty insignificant, just the souls of martyrs begging to be avenged, to which God essentially replies with, "Alright, hold my beer." We start with a great earthquake during which the sun becomes as black as a sackcloth of hair, and the moon as red as blood. What do celestial bodies have to do with shifting tectonic plates, you ask? I don't know, beats me. Then every mountain and island is moved out of its place, forcing people of the earth to retreat into caves, for some reason. After the 7th seal is open, an angel with a golden censer filled with heavenly fire, and throws it down to earth. And what follows are peals of thunder, rumblings, flashes of lightning, and an earthquake. Next, 7 heavenly trumpets are sounded, the first causing hail, fire, and blood to rain down on the earth, scorching a third of all of the earth's plant life. Next, the planet is hit with a meteor, which is described in the text as a great burning mountain falling from the sky and landing in the ocean, eliminating a third of sea creatures and a third of ships at sea. Similarly, a great star named Wormwood falls from the heaven and poisons a third of all rivers and springs. When the 4th trumpet sounds, a third of the sun, the moon, and stars are dimmed, creating complete darkness for a third of the day and night. Lots of thirds there. Now, there's gonna be a few more catastrophes as we continue forward, but for now, God decides to take a break with number 8, Abaddon the Destroyer, Angel of the Abyss. Can't quite have a biblical end of days without a swarm of locusts tearing it up. Well, I mean, to call these things locusts is a bit of an understatement. It's more like a swarm of tiny demons. Let me explain. Essentially, with the sound of the 5th trumpet, a star falls to earth, creating a bottomless pit from which smoke rises like a gigantic furnace to darken out the sun and the sky again. From out of this smoke, locusts with scorpion stingers and human faces and hair with lion's teeth and dressed in tiny iron chest plates. Editor, can you pull up a depiction? Good lord, look at that. Gotta love the biblically accurate. The locust abominations are joined by their leader, Angel of the Abyss, who's referred to as Abaddon in Hebrew and Apollyon in Greek. Abaddon meaning the destroyer, and Abaddon translating either to destruction or doom. Yeah, not the kind of angel you'd want to bump into. And speaking of evil angels, at number 7 we have the 4 angels of the Euphrates River. Now, we're not given many details about these particular angels other than the fact that they've been held captive at the ancient river, which serves as the boundary between Assyria and Israel. Now, these guys behave more like demons, considering that demonic spirits are just angels who've been turned to the dark side. And so calling them angels seems like we're giving them a bit more credit than they deserve. I mean, at least the last dude was named Apollyon. Anyways, the role these 4 angels play once released is to unalive a third of all mankind through a vast cavalry of unfathomable magnitude. Now, of course, it wouldn't be the Book of Revelations without some terrifying amalgamations, and so naturally, instead of riding regular old horses, the army of mounts are depicted as having snake tails and lion heads which breathe fire, smoke, and sulfur, because why not? At number 6 is Satan. Once again, it wouldn't be the biblical end of the world if the devil himself weren't there to crash the party. John here depicts old Lucy as an enormous 7-headed dragon with 10 horns and 7 crowns. I'm not even gonna try to pretend what those particular numbers mean, but in this case, if I had to guess, I'd say that given that this is Satan, the 7 crowns could probably represent the 7 princes of hell, otherwise known as the 7 deadly sins. Now, I could be wrong, and there are definitely more satisfying explanations out there that I'd be happy to cover in another video, God willing. Now, we know that this dragon is Lucy because John explicitly identifies the dragon as the old serpent Satan himself, but even if he didn't, we can still make this assumption given that one of the first things this dragon does is drag a third of the stars in heaven with its tail and throws them down to the earth, a reference to how Satan was joined by a third of all the angels when they were kicked out of heaven. To sum it up, Lucy here is hell-bent on waging war upon and annihilating the people of God, and so to do so, he employs the help of number 5, the beast and the false prophet. The first of 2 beasts emerges from the sea and is also sporting 7 heads and 10 horns, but this time he's rocking 10 crowns as opposed to Satan's 7. The beast itself took the form of a leopard with bear paws and lion's mouths. One of the 7 heads is a distinguishing wound which looks as though it should have been fatal, but the wound has healed and the head is very much alive. The heathens of the world marvel over this beast who is given the power and authority to rule over all of mankind and talk a bunch of smack about God. Next, another beast emerges from the earth this time, but this one's only got 1 head. Widely regarded as the false prophet or the Antichrist, this beast is described as having 2 horns like a lamb, but the voice of a dragon. This second beast performs miracles for mankind and is given the authority to command on behalf of the first beast. And so the Antichrist commands the people to build the statue of the first beast and breathes life into said statue, allowing the statue of the first beast to speak and demand all those who refuse to worship the image of the beast to be executed. It also forced everyone, young, old, rich and poor, free and enslaved, to receive the mark of the beast on their right hands or foreheads so that they could not buy or sell things unless they had the mark of the beast. And that, ladies and gents, is why the number 666 is associated with the devil. At number 4 is the kingdom of evil. The final 7 plagues, which are described as 7 bowls poured onto the earth, anticlimactically enough, mostly serve to finish off what's left from the previous plagues, or are directed towards the followers of the beasts, with the first plague being the manifestation of malignant and festering sores and boils that break out on those who carry the mark of the beast and worship its image. Bowl 2 is poured into the sea, turning it to blood and eliminating all remaining marine life. The third did the same with all fresh water, leaving the remaining inhabitants of earth with nothing to drink but blood. The fourth bowl is poured onto the sun, allowing it to scorch people with fire again. Bowl number 5 shrouds the kingdom of evil in perpetual darkness, leaving people gnawing at their tongues in agony, oddly enough. Now, bowl number 6 is perhaps the most intriguing, and I'll break that down in just a second, but before I do, I'll just get out of the way that bowl number 7 causes a great earthquake, heavy hailstorm, and somehow results in every island and mountain completely disappearing from the face of the earth. At number 3 is the Battle of Armageddon. Now let's quickly backtrack to bowl number 6, which saw the Euphrates River completely dry up, thus paving the way for the kings of the east to come and invade. It's during this time that 3 demonic frogs, yeah, you heard me right, emerge from the mouths of either beast and the dragon to go on and assemble the kings in a place called Armageddon in preparation for the battle against God. And in the other corner of the ring, we have the army of God consisting of 144,000 pure of heart from the 12 tribes of Israel, who will ultimately emerge victorious over the beast with the destruction of New Babylon. Sidebar, the Euphrates River is currently actively drying up at an alarming rate, so I don't know, do with that info as you will. At number 2 is Judgment Day, the moment we've all been waiting for, the end of it all. Well, that is if you're on Team Satan. See, the beast and the false prophet are cast into the lake of fire, representing a permanent state of being unalive. Now, the dragon, on the other hand, is cast into the bottomless pit for 1,000 years, while the resurrected martyrs get to party with Christ in the meantime. Once a millennium has passed, the dragon is released and gathers the easily deceived for a final battle at the holy city, but the dragon and his army is ultimately defeated and cast into the lake of fire, along with the wicked, the essence of the unalive himself, and Hades, the Greek god of the underworld, for some reason. And now that suffering and this state of unaliveness has been completely purged from the world, God himself comes to party with humanity. And at number 1 are the 7 churches of Asia. For those of you who care enough to make it this far into the video, I've saved this last entry just for you to help you be better prepared for the end days. You see, this entire set of events is bestowed onto John by the Son of God himself, but before giving him the prophecy, he decides to give him a little report card on the citizens of Earth in the form of 7 letters to the 7 churches of Asia. And it should be noted that in biblical context, the number 7 is supposed to signify completeness, meaning that these letters aren't addressed to the people people of the time, but are actually meant for all people across all time, so listen up. The first one is for the Church of Ephesus. Overcome and you'll get the snack off the tree of life. You're great at spotting fakes, but you've lost touch with your first love and are being called upon to rekindle that flame. For the second Church of Smyrna, keep faith through tough trials and score a crown of life. Ignore Satan's club and don't fear prison. For the Church of Pergamum, you're tough, but drop the bad doctrine and quit partying with Nicolaitans. For the Church of Thyatira, patience and hard work are nice, but that prophetess promoting immorality and hanky-panky? Gotta go. Those who follow the advice will be given an iron rod with which they can dash nations to pieces. Feel like everybody else is getting the short stick in comparison. The next one is the Church of Sardis. You've got some clean white garments waiting for you, but your works need a little sprucing up. Stay vigilant and boast those efforts because your name is in the book of life and we don't want any erasing happening. Next is Philadelphia. You're rocking it with your strength and your word is your bond. Keep that crown secure and don't let anybody swipe it. You're on your way to becoming a pillar in God's temple complete with a shiny new name. And finally, Laodicea. I definitely butchered all those, by the way. You're the lukewarm ones of the bunch, and that's not a compliment. Lukewarm in this case means you're neither a believer nor an atheist, and for some reason that pisses off God the most. Time to turn up the zeal and repent pronto, and you'll snag a seat with the Son of God himself. Otherwise, Jesus Christ himself will spew you from his mouth. Imagine that. As always, if there's a biblical prophecy of doom that you think I've missed, feel free to let me know down in the comments. This has been AJ with Most Amazing Top 10, and I'll catch you all in another video. Peace out.